Oh boy, guys. Like, holy crap. Do I have an insane story for you? Because this thing is absolutely crazy. And I don't know how we've escalated to this point, but here we are now. And this is something that I just cannot ignore. So, before I go ahead and tell you this little piece of madness, I just want to go ahead and mention to you guys that part of my job on YouTube is to be a comedian. To entertain people, to make them laugh, to give them a good time, and to basically to be funny and to tell jokes. So, I definitely have years of experience, years of practice, and also years of training in order to be a comedian, to actually make people laugh and to be funny, basically. Now, one thing that I do know as a fact, as a comedian, I know that the phrase, "it's just a joke," is dead. Like, nobody can basically say it anymore in this day and age of the internet and social media. Like, if you hear anybody say the phrase, "it's just a joke," it's completely invalid. Because I know for a fact that no matter what the joke is, no matter how harmless or innocent that it seems, there is always going to be a group of people out there that are going to see this joke and they're going to take it a little too seriously. And there are two ways that you can really go seriously with a joke. Now, there's the side that you would not find it funny and you would find it entirely offensive, so you would do your best to just shut it down or expose it, how this joke is definitely of poor taste, or that this person should be punished and should face consequences for saying this bad joke. And what would end up happening is that, there would actually be bad consequences for poorly handling a joke or to make shock humor that is absolutely of poor taste. If you don't believe me, look at the stupidity of PewDiePie this year. Or even, there is another way that people can take a joke a little too seriously. That they would love a joke so much that they themselves would envelop the joke in order to become the joke. And things would just go downhill from there. And that is exactly what happened at McDonald's. Why McDonald's? Well, apparently for one day only, McDonald's decided to go and make a little promotional campaign where for one day only, you would actually have the chance to taste the legendary Szechuan sauce. Now, if you guys don't know about the Szechuan sauce, right now, it has become this massive meme. And it all began back in the late 90s when McDonald's decided to release these little packets of Szechuan sauce. And it's meant to be this little dipping sauce that you would use with chicken McNuggets. And it's supposed to be this little Asian-themed sauce that is meant to promote the 1998 animated feature from Disney, Mulan. Which is why there are some people that would also refer to it as either the Mulan sauce or the Mulan Szechuan sauce. Now, it wouldn't be until years later when Rick and Morty would come into the scene. And in season 3, there is one episode in particular where Rick would stop at nothing. He would be willing to go and break the fabric of time and space in order to go and get at least a taste of that Szechuan sauce. Like, that was the whole episode where Rick was so crazy for this Szechuan sauce that he would stop at nothing to go and get it. And keep in mind, this is not something that would go on for a bunch of episodes. This is not the plot line for an entire season. This was just one episode telling this one joke. And ever since that episode came, the Szechuan sauce became this entire meme. Like, people were going crazy over the Szechuan sauce. It was this and Pickle Rick that really became the biggest memes of 2017, or at the very least, it's the biggest memes from Rick and Morty of 2017. Now, with all that said, McDonald's paid attention to this entire Szechuan sauce trend, and they decided that it would be a great idea to go ahead and try to capitalize on this idea. So they actually made the announcement that for one day only, like I said before, audiences and fans can finally have that chance to go and taste the Szechuan sauce. That they can go into McDonald's and they can order chicken McNuggets and it will come with a little packet of Szechuan sauce. Now, the big catch to all this, one thing that they did not mention to the people who love Rick and Morty is that not only is it not going to be all across the McDonald's in America, it's only going to be in selected restaurants at McDonald's, but also the fact that each of those McDonald's, they would only have about 20 to 30 little packets of Szechuan sauce each. So yeah, they didn't make a lot. It's only a very few, they only made a very limited quantity of them. Now here is where the real madness comes in. Now, it looks like McDonald's seriously underestimated the amount of people who are so desperate to get a little packet of Szechuan sauce. Because across America, there have been giant lineups in order to go and get a little taste of that Szechuan sauce. Like, literally, they can go, fill up the entire store, and they can go all the way across the street. I mean, these lineups are so big that you would expect that McDonald's is giving out free Nintendo Switches with an order of a Big Mac or something like that. It's honestly insane. And there have been numerous of reports from hundreds, even thousands of people that they have openly stated that they have waited in line for hours, or that they would be driving 2, 3, 4 hours to go across America just to find a McDonald's that would actually have a Szechuan sauce packet. But ultimately, it left a lot of people really pissed off. When people would be waiting in hours and then they would ultimately go in line or be in front of the line, when they say, and when the employees just say oh, we don't have the Szechuan sauce, they would get livid. They would be enraged, so much so that they had to go and express their anger on social media, like on Tumblr, on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever, saying that they've completely wasted their time and they came out empty-handed and completely mad at McDonald's that they did not deliver their promise, or the fact that they just did not get the Szechuan sauce, period. Oh, but it gets worse, trust me. Not only does it look bad in front of McDonald's, but also, oh man, there are some people who didn't even wait to go to social media to express their anger. They would get mad on the floor of McDonald's itself. When people in line would hear that there's no longer any Szechuan sauce in that specific McDonald's, they would get mad. They would legit go and protest. There are numerous of reports of hundreds of people across McDonald's. They would be shouting out, "We want the sauce! We want the sauce!" They're doing this major protest. And things can go so crazy to the point that there are some McDonald's that they would call in, they would have the police intervene with what's going on. Yes, the police had to be called in to stop the madness of the whole Szechuan sauce scenario. And I remember there's even one time that I saw this video passing around on Twitter a few moments where there's this one guy, I swear to God, he must be mentally ill or something like that. He must be off his meds, but seriously, the guy deserves a straitjacket at this point, because he literally just stood up at the counter when he heard that they don't have any Szechuan sauce And he just had a serious mental breakdown going, "Where's my Szechuan sauce? I'm Pickle Rick! Wubba Lubba Dub Dub! Give me my Szechuan sauce! I'm Pickle Rick! I'm Pickle Rick!" And you know the saddest thing about that is that I'm not even exaggerating. If you see the video itself, yeah, that's pretty much an accurate impression of what the guy did. So yeah, ultimately, it became a scenario where everybody loses. McDonald's lost because they poorly managed a campaign and made a very limited amount of little Szechuan sauce packets. And ultimately, it just became a disaster and left hundreds and thousands of people angry. And this is also a major stab to the reputation of the Rick and Morty fan base, where people would get so upset and they would go absolutely insane, completely wasting their time and just, go full on outraged just for a little packet of Szechuan sauce. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Whenever I see people that they would get angry online or anything like that, I would usually go and take a look at the ultimate purpose. Like, why is it that they're angry in the first place? Like, what's the end goal right over here? And honestly, I find this to be absolutely stupid. Because all this madness, all this controversy over a little dipping sauce for chicken McNuggets at McDonald's. You see so many people throwing an entire fit all for a little dipping sauce. And not just any dipping sauce, like one specific dipping sauce. Are you freaking kidding me? Now, by the way, there is also one more thing I did forget to mention. Is actually regarding the involvement of Adult Swim themselves, and also with the people that did make Rick and Morty, specifically with the creators of Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland. Well, in that aspect right over there, they actually have nothing to do with it. This is not a problem with Adult Swim or with Rick and Morty, considering that when it came to McDonald's and the way that they promote it, they did not directly mention Rick and Morty. In fact, when you look at the promotional campaign, whether it be with the posters that they would hand out or with the little Szechuan sauce packets, you'll see that they actually used a similar art style and a similar font to Rick and Morty, but they don't directly say that it's Rick and Morty. They kind of use like this off-brand Chinese knockoff kind of thing where, yeah, they would like, they would say it's Rick and Morty without actually saying that it's Rick and Morty. But yeah, looking into this, like, holy crap. Like, how is it that there are so many people that would go this freaking crazy for a little dipping sauce for your chicken McNuggets? Like, this ain't for the whole meal. This ain't for the chicken McNuggets. This ain't for an entire burger. Or this isn't like pricing or anything like that. This is for a dipping sauce. And honestly, you know the ironic thing about all this? There's this giant irony that came with this entire McDonald's controversy, is the fact that now there are some fans who ultimately did become the joke. Because here's the thing. With the episode where Rick and Morty and they want to desperately go and get the Szechuan sauce, the entire punchline of that episode is how Rick is basically obsessing over something that is so obscure and so insignificant. Like, Dan Harmon created, he reported that he created this episode in order to take a little fun jab at Justin Roiland with his passionate little love with the Szechuan sauce, just kind of like a little joke between friends. And ultimately, this thing just went completely out of hand, where now people are acting exactly like Rick. where now they actually become like Rick and they're just obsessing over such an insignificantly small thing that they can completely live without. You know, you're literally going insane and you're throwing so much outrage and causing damage to your own personal image and the image of other fans of Rick and Morty just because you didn't have a little bit of sauce that was originally meant to promote a Disney animated film. What the fridge is wrong with you? I mean, really? Like, this is the world that we legitimately live in, where people would seriously go out of their way to spend so many hours of their time to go and get a little packet of dipping sauce for chicken McNuggets at McDonald's. Seriously, I have to say that entire title because it just sounds completely stupid. You can't just say a dipping sauce. You can't just say a dipping sauce for McNuggets. Like, literally, that's all it is. It's pure insanity over a specific dipping sauce for chicken McNuggets at McDonald's. That's literally all that this is. Like, holy crap. Now, I just want to mention, though, this does not reflect upon the entirety of the Rick and Morty fan base. This is only some of the fans that are truly insane for the Szechuan sauce. And I actually did have proof. I actually talked with a friend of mine, Morgan, and he actually told me a story about his experience with the whole Szechuan sauce thing. And honestly, it is the ideal scenario. This is something that I wished happened all across America. Now, my friend Morgan, he went to one McDonald's, and there were no huge lineups, but he did tell me that it was a little bit more packed than usual. And this was actually one of the McDonald's that actually did not have a Szechuan sauce packet. So the employees would have to tell them, I'm sorry, but we do not have the Szechuan sauce, but you can have this little poster of it. And you know how the fans reacted? They looked at the employees and say, okay, that's fine, thanks anyways, and went on their way. That's it. Like, isn't that such a pleasant story? Doesn't that sound like a breath of fresh air that you wish that all Rick and Morty fans would act? But no. Although there are some that would act that way, there are others, however, who decided that, you know what, let's just go insane and just go, I pickle Rick! I pickle Rick! Whee! I pickle Rick! You know, somehow they think that is okay behavior to be at McDonald's. For some freaking reason. And you know the worst thing is, like, all this entire scenario, that they would be completely outraged and they would flip out to the point that the police would have to come in. This is literally first world problems. This is like the legitimate definition of first world problems. Because here's the thing. All around the world, there has been madness that has been going on. Sheer, utter madness that are worth getting angry over. America has spent months of political chaos ruled by a tyrannical dictator. Puerto Rico, to this day, they still do not have a lot of electricity or water. Like the majority of Puerto Ricans, they don't have that much going on. And we have spent weeks of natural and man-made disasters where sadly hundreds of people ended up dead because of them. And these people right over here, they choose out of all this, the one thing to really get mad at is the fact that they did not get a specific dipping sauce for chicken McNuggets at McDonald's. What in the name of fridge is wrong with you? As a person, you know, I just want to say, as someone who spends his time talking about cartoons on the internet, if you're someone who's mad that you did not get your little Szechuan sauce packets, honestly, dude, you go get a life. Because really, You are, like, like, honestly, if the most anger-inducing moment of your life includes not getting a specific dipping sauce for your chicken McNuggets, then honestly, you really gotta reconsider your life choices, man. You got problems. I mean, freaking seriously. All this for a freaking dipping sauce that's meant to promote Mulan. I mean, for real, guys. And you know, honestly, the worst thing about this is, the worst thing that I am pissed off about is honestly the fact that McDonald's actually did respond to this controversy, and they actually stated that they will try to bring back more Szechuan sauce during the winter time. That they will try to do better next time, and they will make more Szechuan sauce than usual. Honestly, this is a terrible decision. No, they should not. At this point, after all that, nobody deserves Szechuan sauce. Period. Nobody deserves any. And McDonald's should not freaking do this. They should not be allowed to actually go and try this again, because at this point, nobody's gonna learn about anything. McDonald's is not gonna learn that it's a bad idea to capitalize on a stupid meme, and some of the fans are not gonna learn. You know, they're just not gonna learn in general. You know, they're gonna continue to pretty much act completely stupid in public, to throw a massive temper tantrum, and to go completely ballistic to the point that the police would have to freaking intervene, and they would continue to do so until they ultimately get what they want. No, at that point, just stop it. And I mean, if you're gonna do it in the winter, then honestly, you're gonna be releasing it when the whole Szechuan sauce trend is gonna die out. Like, at that point, nobody's gonna freaking care anymore. Like, you're not gonna have the giant lineups like you had before. Like, who cares about freaking Szechuan sauce, man? Like, seriously, at this point, only crazy people want Szechuan sauce. Like, who desperately needs Szechuan sauce? No, this should not happen. They need to stop this and just move on. And the only thing they can give to people is just a lesson. That's what they should do. But no, like, they gotta go through this entire crap. And honestly, it's ridiculous. And honestly, I really do feel sorry for the actual smart people who are fans of Rick and Morty, because now they would be associated with this entire mess, even though they would behave, you know, appropriately. But this, like, honestly, this really did ruin the whole Rick and Morty experience. And it really is sad, honestly, that this is another example of how some fan bases, that when they have bad people, they just have horrible human beings that make the entire fan base look bad. And I do feel sorry for those good Rick and Morty fans, that they would have to suffer through this, and they would also have to be punished for others' stupidity. I mean, really. And I think the only thing that we really got out of all this, more so than Szechuan sauce, is actually regarding the entire controversy about people stating that Rick and Morty is a show for smart people. Well, let me just say that if the crazier fans are the kind of people that would be willing to waste their time for hours on end to wait in line at McDonald's just for the promise of Szechuan sauce, then yeah, that myth is freaking busted. Or actually, even worse, that they would be willing to spend hundreds of dollars on a little packet of Szechuan sauce, then yeah, it's busted. And like, honestly, yeah, I think smart and dumb people watch Rick and Morty as well. I mean, seriously, this thing is just ridiculous. If you really want your Szechuan sauce, then you should pay hundreds of dollars for it.